White knight marches to f3. Black knight marches to f6. White pawn marches to b3. Black pawn marches to d5. White bishop marches to b2. Black bishop marches to f5. White pawn marches to e3. Black pawn marches to e6. White pawn marches to d4. Black pawn marches to c6. White bishop marches to d3. Black bishop marches to d6. White kingside castling. Black knight marches to d7. White pawn marches to c4. Black knight marches to e4. White queen marches to c2. Black kingside castling. White knight marches to c3. Black knight marches to f6. White knight retreats to e2. Black rook moves sideways to c8. White rook moves sideways to c1. Black knight retreats to d7. White queen retreats to b1. Black queen marches to f6. White knight marches to g3. Black bishop captures knight at g3. White pawn captures bishop at g3. Black queen moves sideways to h6. White rook moves sideways to e1. Black knight marches to f6. White queen marches to c2. Black pawn marches to b5. White pawn marches to c5. Black knight marches to g4. White bishop retreats to c1. Black rook moves sideways to e8. White pawn marches to h3. Black knight captures pawn at g3. White pawn marches to e4. Black pawn captures pawn at e4. White bishop captures queen at h6. Black pawn captures bishop at d3. White queen moves sideways to d2. Black knight captures rook at f1. White rook captures knight at f1. Black knight captures bishop at h6. White queen marches to e3. Black rook moves sideways to d8. White pawn marches to g4. Black bishop retreats to g6. White knight marches to e5. Black rook marches to d5. White pawn marches to h4. Black rook moves sideways to d8. White pawn marches to h5. Black knight captures pawn at g4. White knight captures knight at g4. Black bishop captures pawn at h5. White knight marches to e5. Black rook captures pawn at d4. White queen retreats to d2. Black bishop retreats to g6. White knight captures pawn at c6. Black rook moves sideways to g4 and gives check. White king escapes check at f2. Black rook marches to d5. White knight marches to e7 and gives check. Black king escapes check at f8. White knight captures rook at d5. Black bishop marches to e4. White knight retreats to e3. Black resigns and white wins the game.